Take a breath and come with me to the kitchen table one more time. If you watch till the end, I'll share a small midnight cheesecake tribute that ties every goodbye together, and it will give you the kind of peace only these women could give. Today we're honoring the people who made that living room glow, how each of the Golden Girls said goodbye, and why their stories still matter. Please stay with me for the full video so none of them are forgotten. Before we go deep, here is the simple list of who we'll cover, with a clear note on how they passed. 1. Estelle Getty, Sophia Petrillo, complications of Lewy body dementia in 2008, days before her 85th birthday. 2. Bea Arthur, Dorothy Zbornak, cancer in 2009 at age 86. 3. Rue McClanahan, Blanche Devereaux, a massive stroke in 2010 at age 76. 4. Betty White, Rose Nyland, passed in her sleep in 2021 at age 99. Her death certificate listed a stroke. And because the show's family was bigger than 4, we'll also honor a few beloved regulars. 5. Herb Edelman, Stan Zbornak, emphysema in 1996 at age 62. 6. Harold Gould, Miles Weber, prostate cancer in 2010 at age 86. 7. Sid Melton, Sal Petrillo in flashbacks, pneumonia in 2011 at age 94. 8. Charles Levin, Coco in the pilot, accidental fall in 2019 at age 70. Keep watching for the gentle tribute at the end. It's for all of them, and for you. Let's begin with Estelle Getty, the firecracker who could knock down a giant with a one-liner. It still amazes people that Estelle was younger than Bea Arthur, even though she played Bea's mother. That tells you how complete her work was. She did not do Sophia, she became Sophia. The little purse, the sharp eyes, the voice that rose and fell like a drum roll before a joke. She gave us, picture it, Sicily, 1922, and every time, you could see it in your head. Estelle did not find big fame until later in life. She had worked hard for years, took small parts, kept going, and then this role found her ready. In her later years, Lewy body dementia stole memories and speech. It was a cruel and quiet fight. She passed away in 2008, just days before turning 85. When you think of her, think of that brave truth. Talent can bloom late, and late blooms can light a room forever. If you ever repeat one of her lines at a family dinner, that's her still living in your home. Bea Arthur did not need to move much to command a scene. A glance, a pause, one dry note, and the room obeyed. As Dorothy Zbornak, she brought a spine, a steadiness, and a soft heart she kept under lock and key until the right moment. Long before the Golden Girls, Bea was already a force. She led a show that broke ground, and she did it with the same confidence you felt every time Dorothy faced down a bully. Off the screen she served in the Marines in World War II, then built a career on stage and TV with sheer skill. In 2009 she died of cancer at 86. The day the news came, many of us felt like the house got a little quieter. But that eyebrow is still raised in reruns, still telling you to stand up for yourself, still saying no when no is needed. If you ever held a boundary in your life and heard her voice in your head, then Bea is still teaching you. Rue McClanahan brought big color to a beige world. Blanche Devereaux was bold and playful, but also honest about aging, desire, and pride. Rue had a long road to that role, with years of stage work and TV parts, and she gave Blanche more than looks and jokes. She gave her a full heart and a full life. People sometimes think Rue was Blanche. In truth, Rue was gentle and thoughtful off camera. She loved animals, cared about the arts, and gave time to causes that mattered to her. In 2010 she died after a massive stroke at age 76. Her goodbye felt sudden. But in every scene where Blanche stands at a mirror and decides she is still worthy, you can feel Rue's gift to people everywhere who think their best days are behind them. She said no to that idea. Every time you dress up for yourself, you honor her. And then there is Betty White. When she passed on the last day of 2021, time slowed. Betty had been working since radio, had stayed funny and kind for 7 decades, and never lost the sparkle in her eye. As Rose Nyland, she turned innocence into a form of wisdom. You laughed at her stories from St. Olaf, but you also learned that pure hearts carry power. Betty was a pioneer for women in TV, a deep friend to animals, and a person who made a stage feel safe. She was 99, just days from 100, and passed in her sleep. Her death certificate later listed a stroke. If that hurts to hear, it is because she felt like everyone's friend. Here is the simple way to keep her with you. Say something nice when you do not have to, laugh at yourself when you can, and care for a creature that needs you. That is Betty. The show's family also had men who fit like old shoes. Herb Edelman played Stan Zbornak, Dorothy's ex, and somehow made a heel into a human being. You were mad at Stan, and you still hoped he would do better. That is good acting. Herb died of emphysema in 1996 at 62. He had a long list of credits and a big presence, but on this show he proved that even the guy who broke your heart can teach you something about healing. If you ever forgave a fool and felt lighter, you learned the same lesson Dorothy did. Harold Gould played Miles Weber, Rose's sweet, steady boyfriend. With him, Rose's hope grew even softer, even brighter. He brought calm, care, and a little mystery to a show built on fast jokes and fast exits. In real life, he was a strong actor on stage and screen, with a voice you could trust. He died of prostate cancer in 2010 at 86. Think of him when a kind man does the simple thing right, shows up on time, listens well, and makes someone feel safe. That was Miles. Sid Melton showed up in flashbacks as Sal Petrillo, Sophia's late husband, and made those short scenes feel like home movies. He was quick, warm, and somehow both loud and gentle at once. He died of pneumonia in 2011 at 94. When Sophia talked about Sal, you could feel the weight of a whole marriage in one line. Love like that keeps a person close long after they are gone. If you ever told a small story that held a big love, you know what those scenes gave us. In the pilot, there was also a sharp, kind cook named Coco, played by Charles Levin. He was there at the start, helping the house feel alive. Charles died in 2019 after an accidental fall. Even small roles can matter a lot when they set a tone. That first episode told us the house was open to many kinds of people, and that warmth stretched through the whole series. Now let's pull the camera back and look at what these goodbyes teach in simple terms. First, late starts are real. Estelle proved that. Your shot can come well after most people think it should, and you can still change a whole culture when it arrives. Second, strength and kindness are not opposites. Bea showed that. You can be firm and still be fair. Third, age does not erase beauty. Rue said it every week with a grin. You can still flirt with life, even when life has lines on it. Fourth, light outlives the lamp. Betty proved this more than anyone. The hand may be gone, but the touch stays in the room. There is also a quiet health lesson in these stories. Dementia changes a person, and families need help, patience, and time. Cancer moves in silence. Catching it early and getting care matters. Strokes come fast. Knowing the signs, face drooping, arm weakness, speech trouble, and calling for help at once can save a life. Lung disease ends slowly. If you smoke, talk to a doctor about how to stop, and if you love someone who smokes, love them through the hard part. These are not just medical words. They are the tools you carry so you can stay at the table longer. The show itself was honest about growing older. It said you can be wise and still make mistakes. You can be lonely and still find a friend. You can be broke and still laugh hard enough to cry. It told daughters how to talk to mothers, friends how to forgive friends, and neighbors how to become family. That is why these deaths hit us. We did not only lose actors. We lost guides for how to live with humor when life is not easy. If you are still with me, and I hope you are, here is the small tribute I promised. Close your eyes for a moment, and picture the kitchen. It is late. The house is quiet. The tiles are cool. 4 chairs stand around the table. A light clicks on. You hear the soft scrape of a chair moving, then another, then one more. There is a cheesecake on a plate. A knife. 4 forks. In your mind, place each person in her seat. Sophia puts down her purse and tells a short story. Dorothy rolls her eyes, then smiles anyway. Blanche fixes her hair and says, "Girls, I'm still a catch." Rose begins a St. Olaf tale and loses the point halfway through, and that is the point. They share a bite. They share a look. They share the kind of love only found at 2 in the morning between people who choose each other again and again. Now add the men who came and went and loved them in their ways. Let them stand in the doorway and listen. Let them laugh too. Let everyone be well in this memory. When you open your eyes, remember this: the best part of the show is not the punchline, it is the company. If you want to honor them, be someone's company. Call your mother. Sit with a friend who needs to talk. Bring dessert to a neighbor